I'm Craig Zaden, one of the executive producers of Gypsy.
And I'm Neil Marin, one of the other executive producers of Gypsy.
And Gypsy was the first television event that Neil and I had ever produced. And it was our entree into the world of television.
There's kind of an interesting little story. I mean, it's our entree into television, but it all kind of happened coincidentally when I got a phone call from one of the author's agents who said that the TV rights to Gypsy were available, and would we be interested in doing it for television? And absolutely was the answer back, but we actually didn't know who was going to be the people behind it, the money people and the network.
It was very exciting for us because we had always said that Gypsy was perhaps, arguably, the best musical ever written for Broadway, with a brilliant book by Arthur Lawrence and a remarkable score by Jule Styne and Stephen Sondheim. We should talk about the credit sequence. The credit sequence on the telecast, when it was first shown on CBS, was much shorter, much briefer.
One of the reasons that the overture was short for television is because it ate into a lot of screen time that we needed to tell the story. And one of the only reasons that the composer and lyricist allowed it to be trimmed was that we guaranteed them that on the home video, the complete overture would be restored. And true to word, here it is. It's what you're listening to now. And in terms of the credit sequence, there are clips of the actual Gypsy Rose Lee that are going by. And this footage from vaudeville and burlesque was from the vaults of Eric Preminger, who is the son of Gypsy Rose Lee. And we wanted to set up the world that the audience was going to go into in a very, very effective way. So we wanted the dazzle of show business with all of the lights. We wanted the kind of the tone of the vaudeville acts, the burlesque acts, and then as kind of a wink to the audience, for the audience to, if they didn't know, they were looking at the actual Gypsy Rose Lee as she was, and there she is now, as she eventually became this world-renowned stripper.
So we got to see a much briefer version of this on the broadcast, and because people have asked us, why is the credit sequence so long on the home video? And the reason is that we restored the whole overture. So this is the first time that you get to see the entire piece on home video only.
And arguably, it is one of the best, if not one of the most famous overtures ever written for Broadway. And it's a pretty thrilling piece of music. And if you notice on the Bonnie Walker credit, her credit is smaller than everybody else's. That's because Jerome Robbins, who did the original direction and choreography, specifically wanted the person to recreate his work to have a smaller credit on screen, as to not take away from his own work.
We did recreate Robbins' choreography in the movie, and Bonnie Walker, who had worked with Robbins previously, came in and actually adapted it for the screen.
I mean, we argued that she was an integral part of the production and she was actually doing a lot of work, but Mr. Robbins was insistent that his name be bigger than hers. And with Mr. Robbins, that's the way he wanted it, and that's the way he got it.
So a lot of the cast members that you see went on to do other things later.
Oh, the cast is extraordinary in terms of Tony Shalhoub, who went on to do Monk. We have Rachel Sweet, who is a noted showrunner. The Michael Gita, who went on to win a Tony Award on Broadway for Grand Hotel, who passed away. It's just an extraordinary group of people.
And Lacey
Chabert. Lacey Chabert went on to Party of Five. Elizabeth Moss was on West Wing. And of course, there's the great and fabulous Bette Midler. And without Bette's participation, this would have happened.
So the saga began when we were offered the television rights, and at that time, musicals were sort of taboo on TV. Nobody wanted to do a musical on television, let alone a 3-hour broadcast, let alone a 3-hour broadcast of a Broadway musical. So we basically knew one person in television at that time, and his name was Jeff Sagansky, and he was the head of CBS. And we called Jeff and we said, is there any way in the world that you would possibly do an event, a special movie of a musical, namely Gypsy? And he said, well, I love Gypsy. It's a great show, but, musicals on TV, forget it. It's never going to work. And through more talking, he said, well, okay, if I were to even remotely consider it, which I'm not saying I will, who could you possibly get that would mean something to making it the biggest event of the year on television? And he said it would have to be somebody who's a movie star who doesn't do television. And at that moment in time, there was somebody who was a movie star that didn't do television that we happened to know personally, and somebody that we thought in our wildest dreams would be the best Mama Rose imaginable, and that was Bette Midler.
And the entire process of wooing Bette took, I'd say, several months, because Bette originally said no. She kept on saying no. She said no through Barney Bruckheimer. She said no all the time until one day there was a phone call that Craig made to her, and she had just finished with a trainer, and I think Craig.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Bette's originally turned down the part because she didn't really want to do a TV movie at that point. And we were explaining that when you do a musical like this, it's such a big event, it's not a TV movie. It's almost like doing a feature film that happens to be broadcast on television. And Bette had just worked out and come back and had just done a sauna, and she was very relaxed, and it was late at night, and she called, and I said, I'm just confused. I don't understand. Is not Gypsy the best role ever written for a woman in musical theater? And she said yes. And I said, is it not the best score ever written for a woman in musical theater? And she said yes. And I said, basically, then I don't understand. What's the problem? And she said, yeah, you're right. Okay, let's do it. And I said, like, do it, really do it? Or maybe do it? And she said, no, let's do it. So we picked ourselves up off the floor because we were so excited. And we called Jeff Sagansky the next morning and said, Bette Midler has committed to play Mama Rose. And he said, you have a commitment to make the show.
And then we set upon our mission to find a director that could translate the stage piece to film. And one of our first calls was to Emil Artolino. Emil Artolino had directed Dirty Dancing, Three Men and a Baby. He had a major Hollywood career. And
just coming off Sister Act.
And that's right, the last movie he did was Sister Act. And what we didn't know, which is what we found out, that his passion for his entire life was Gypsy. And to the point that when he was younger, in the 50s, he went to one of those little photo booths in Times Square on the subway, and he had his photo taken to send in because he wanted to play the part of Tulsa in Gypsy on Broadway, and he sent it in, and of course, he never heard from them, but he used to, I think he said that he second acted the show. Second acting is if you're too poor to afford tickets to go see the whole show, at intermission, you can just walk in with the rest of the audience and just find any spare seat or standing room and see the second act. And he said he second acted the show more than any other show he's ever seen. So in Emil, we found the total artistic partner that we were looking for, someone that the authors approved of, and Bette, and the network. Right down the line, Emil seemed to be the perfect person. And at that time, he was offered many millions of dollars to direct the sequel to Sister Act, or was it Three Men?
Sister Act 2.
Sister Act 2. So he passed on directing Sister Act 2, which was a very big payday for him, to do his passion, which was Gypsy.
did the work, and we got to save every cent. I had a dream last
The way we went about Gypsy was very unusual in that contractually we had to reproduce the stage text, every word of dialogue from the book, every note of the score, every lyric, verbatim. And we set out to take the stage text and translate it into screenplay form and wrote it as a movie using every single piece of the stage show. And what we did was then design it to look like a movie. And, our goal was to not make it look like we were shooting a stage play, like we were doing something for PBS. We were specifically setting out to do a film, a motion picture of Gypsy.
It ain't too late for you to get a husband to support you.
After 3 husbands, I want to enjoy myself. I want the girls to enjoy themselves. And
One of the major things also that we were attempting to do, since it was the first movie musical that we were doing, and it was the first movie musical that had been done on TV in a very, very long time, is that we wanted to try something where we did some of the singing live. And Bette at first was very resistant to it. She wanted to have everything pre-recorded and lip-sync to it, which we did. We pre-recorded the entire piece, and the goal was to lip-sync. But now and then, we wanted to have Bette sing live because she is a performer that could sing on the spot and not depend on a studio to get her voice to sound perfect. And in this particular case, like this sequence right now where she's going to do Some People, it's flawless because she goes from the dialogue of the scene that you're watching right now into the beginning of Some People, and she's actually singing live on the set to the pre-recorded orchestra track.
for 50 years, you did the same dull thing.
This was one of the first scenes that we shot in the movie, and actually when we saw it all cut together, it didn't really play. So, which is rare in TV movies, this was the reshot version that you're seeing now of the song, starting from here.
To get up and get out. Some people can get up.
See right here, Bette is singing live. She did the dialogue live into the song live. So this is not a pre-record. This is actually singing on the set.
So therefore, there's no lip sync problem.
Part of it also was the reason why we had to go back and reshoot this sequence, which is the only thing we reshot, is because we went into rehearsal and staged every single musical number and rehearsed them with not only the director, of course, and the choreographer, but with the director of photography. We didn't get to this number because we ran out of time in rehearsal. So as a result of not blocking it and not really choreographing it and knowing exactly how it was going to be shot, we looked at what we had and we were incredibly disappointed.
I actually think that these were the first few days of production.
Yeah.
That these were the first things we shot.
Yeah. But luckily Jeff Sagansky was so generous and he gave us the money to go back and redo this number.
He gave us the money after Bette called him up and begged for the money to reshoot, and he very generously agreed.
Just as real as can be, Papa.
Bette has the most amazing ability to do drama, to do comedy, to break your heart, to make you cry, to make you laugh, to turn on a dime. She's extraordinary. And she embodied everything that this character required.
There couldn't have been better casting than Bette Midler as Rose. It was kind of a dream come true for all of us, and especially for Bette. And she was very proud that she could sing in the key that it was written for Ethel Merman. So this was Ethel Merman's key that she was singing, and she was very proud that this is what she could do. So it was a complete recreation.
You ain't getting 88 cents from me, Rose.
Well, I'll get it someplace else. But I'll get it and get my kids out. Goodbye to blueberry pie. Good riddance to all the socials I had to go to.
When the movie was finished and we had a premiere in Los Angeles of the movie, it was the most extraordinary night imaginable because first of all, Bette doesn't like to sit through the premieres of her movies. She wanted to show up and do the red carpet and do the interviews and then leave and go to dinner and come back afterwards for the very end. And something happened that none of us had ever experienced before, which is that the overture started and the audience started to applaud and to scream and to cheer. And Bette sat down because she had never seen anything like it. And from the end of this number, Some People, to the very end of the movie, several hours later, the audience was standing, screaming, and cheering throughout the entire film as though they were at the Broadway stage production.
And it was a very star-studded audience, from Candice Bergen to Jodie Foster to Bernadette Peters. It was an extraordinary night. We premiered at the El Capitan Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. And here's Peter Riegert. And the interesting thing about Peter's casting is that Peter and Bette used to date for years, and they were actually living together for a certain point, and then they broke up. And they hadn't seen each other in a very, very long time. But we felt that he would be great casting for Herbie. And we went to Bette and we said, would it be all right? And she was thrilled. She maintained a great relationship with Peter. And their relationship on set and off set was still great. They had wonderful chemistry.
Let me think it over.
There was a moment in time which lasted about 30 seconds before Peter was cast when we got a call from Dustin Hoffman that he wanted to play Herbie. And, of course, that was a thrilling notion, the idea of teaming Bette and Dustin. But because of scheduling and other things, that didn't work out. But we were thrilled to get Peter because when he came in and auditioned for the authors, they thought he was fantastic.
I was always giving them my commission and telling them they got a raise.
The good Lord says...
Another thing to notice is that we purposely saturated the color in this movie. All the photography is very rich, and all the colors are popping because we wanted to create a world that was heightened reality, that was sort of a real world with real sets, but at the same time was so strong color-wise that it allowed us to have the actors sing.
I don't suppose you'd consider being an agent again.
Would you consider marrying again?
How do you know I'm not married now?
I asked your kids about you.
Oh. Well, after 3 husbands, it takes a lot of butter to get you back in the frying pan.
After 20 years...
We also made use of many of the historic theaters in downtown L.A. There are a lot of theaters that we utilized to shoot this movie because there's so many sequences that happen in a theater. And the Historic Society in Los Angeles has beautifully maintained those theaters downtown. And, you know, they are the actual old vaudeville houses where Fanny Brice and all the great stars performed in their heyday.
We spent many hours there. We had long shooting days, so we got to know these theaters pretty intimately.
I'm a stranger myself here, small world, isn't it?
Bette Midler has one of the greatest smiles ever. When she smiles, she can either break your heart or make you feel good. And she used that smile to her best advantage ever in Gypsy.
I'd love to go traveling.
It's interesting, the title Gypsy, the title Gypsy of the Broadway show, the movie, it was based upon memoirs that Gypsy Rose Lee wrote. But when Arthur Lawrence, who wrote the book for the Broadway musical, he found the heart of the story was with Rose. So it's odd that the piece is actually about Rose the mother, yet it's called Gypsy. But that was due to Gypsy Rose Lee herself. She insisted that the show be called Gypsy, even though it's not really about her in the forefront, it's about her mother.
Small world, isn't it?
The actual Rose is actually even more of a monster than was kind of portrayed in the musical. There are legendary stories about her, but of course that really can't be translated into the movie and in the show, because what you do is you get an essence of who she really was. And it's so interesting for a musical to tackle a character like Rose, who is not on the surface a likable woman, but yet ultimately you come to care for her by the end of the piece.
I'll be in the office.
It was a titanic role, and it was something that apparently Ethel Merman just was electric in the theater. And Ethel Merman was not known as a great actress, but this role was kind of fit her like a good pair of clothes. Good clothes.
There was a movie version, of course, made of Gypsy after the show, and it starred Rosalind Russell as Mama Rose. And it was very, very different from the show, and as a result, the authors were not terribly fond of the movie the way it turned out, and it was kind of an awkward fit for Roz Russell to do.
I mean, I remember Arthur Lawrence telling us that the problem with Rosalind Russell is that she tried to make the character sympathetic. And the thing about portraying Rose is that you can't try to make her sympathetic, that ultimately she will become sympathetic, but if you play her as sympathetic, that's wrong.
We also did something, I think, quite unusual in that we shot some of the big scenes two different ways. We did many takes so that we played Bette's performance as Rose a little larger, and then we played it a little under to see whether or not, in terms of a stage performance versus a movie performance. And what we noticed when we attempted to use any of the more subtle performance of the role, it didn't work because the role was written to be big, and it was played small. It didn't work. It didn't fill out the role. So we always opted to go back to the takes that were tougher and more ferocious.
And there's little Lacey Chabert as Baby June. Lacey was doing Les Miserables on Broadway at the time, playing young Cosette. This is the first time she ever did a movie. She went on to have quite a nice career in Hollywood, which is still ongoing. She did Party of Five, and now currently she's in Mean Girls, and she works a lot. But this is a girl that was plucked out of Les Miserables.
When we started the process of putting this movie together, we scheduled a 2-month rehearsal period, almost the way you would do if you were mounting it for Broadway. And it was like, that 3-ring circus kind of thing where you have rehearsal space where in one room the actors are rehearsing with the musical director, who was on this, Michael Rafter. And in another room, they were working with Bonnie Walker, the choreographer, to work on the choreography and the musical numbers. And in the other room, you had scene work going on with Emile Ardolino. And each actor would be running from room to room to room, working on the songs, working on the dance numbers, and working on the scenes until they all sort of combined. And as we got closer to shooting, we went into the recording studio and recorded the pre-records of all the vocals with the orchestra.
You are very kind.
We had one day where, right before we started to shoot, we took over a soundstage and we taped the soundstage up with all of our sets. We brought in kind of temp furniture, temp props, temp costumes, and we ran the entire piece from beginning to end without stopping. Arthur Lawrence flew out from New York, and it was kind of environmental theater insofar as that the people that were viewing this walked from set to set around the soundstage watching a performance of Gypsy. And it was one of those more magical afternoons ever. It was just, you knew that something special was happening.
That also gave the entire cast the opportunity to see the whole show in its entirety, because you have to remember that each person is rehearsing their individual pieces. And here they got to see everybody fit together like pieces of a puzzle.
And this is young Elizabeth Moss, who's now on West Wing playing one of President Bartlett's daughters. Really fine actress.
This was an unusual show for Jerome Robbins because most of his work in the musical theater had involved a lot more strenuous dance numbers and complicated dance numbers. And in this piece, a lot of it, were the kiddie numbers, the vaudeville numbers.
But this is still one of the more extraordinary moments, too, when you see it in the theater and on film. The passage of time done with strobe lights, which was so exciting in the theater, and actually works pretty well on film, too. Because it's a perfect theatrical and wonderful device as to show how time has changed, that these people have been slugging this act around the country for years and years and years, and now they're still in the same costumes, only much older, but still pretending to be babies.
One of the most difficult casting choices was, of course, finding Gypsy Rose Lee, Louise, and we were very lucky to find Cynthia Gibb to play her, because it's a really, really difficult role to cast, because it has to be a girl who has all the innocence of a child.
Actually, when we were casting the role, the people that came in, the women that came in to audition for this role, it's basically right now, it's a who's who of Hollywood. We had Gwyneth Paltrow, Mira Sorvino, Ashley Judd, Annabeth Gish, Justine Bateman, Debbie Gibson, who else? Just an extraordinary group of women. And then it came down to a point where we screen tested Meg Tilly and Cynthia. And the vote eventually went to Cynthia. The authors had approval as to who would play Rose, Louise, Tulsa, and Herbie. And everybody finally decided that it should be Cynthia.
Again, it's a really hard role to cast because, as in these scenes right here, she's got to be a very innocent little girl, a tomboy, and yet has to make the transition later on in the show to be the very, very adult, feminine, sexy Gypsy Rose Lee.
Oh, that rotten monkey ate a piece out of the cake. Gigolo. Bad gigolo. Bad, bad. I wish.
Make a wish. 1, 2, 3.
I wish. Say, that'd make a good coat.
Hey, there's only 10 candles on this cake.
What do you care? You ain't gonna eat candles.
But she only had 10 candles last year.
And the year before that.
Come to think of it, she's had 10 candles.
Stop right there. As long as we have this act, nobody's over 10, and you all know it. Except, of course, me and... Where's Herbie? I had a dream. Tulsa, go across the hall and see what's keeping Herbie. The rest of you can give Louise her presents while I go see if the chow mein is warmed up.
Chow mein?
It's my birthday.
But chow mein for breakfast?
Why not? There's egg roll, ain't there?
If Madame Rose paid us a salary, we could have bought you presents, Louise. But it's more fun to clip from the 5 and dime. A catcher's mitt and a big league baseball.
Oh, thank you, Yonkers.
Here's a real stuffed cat.
I love it, Kansas.
Cynthia had to audition, I don't know how many times, at least 5 or 6 times, just to convince everybody that she had all of the levels to play the part. She kept on coming back. her first audition wasn't really extraordinary. She didn't come in very well prepared. Remember that?
Yeah.
And but there was something about her that was right. So we had a conversation with her representatives and with her. The next time she came in, she improved tenfold and kept on getting better and better until she claimed the role.
He's an agent. It's from you.
Well, I picked it up.
Years later, we worked again with Cynthia in a very odd way. We produced the movie Life with Judy Garland, Me and My Shadows. And the movie is narrated by Lorna Luft. We based the movie on Lorna's book. And we determined that we needed an actress to do the voiceover. And we thought of Cynthia. And she did the voice of Lorna Luft in that movie.
And we were very proud of Cynthia because she went on and she got a Golden Globe nomination for playing Louise in Gypsy.
Hey, that's pretty sexy.
Not a real cow. A kind of a dancing cow with a great big smile. And that cow leaned right over my bed and spoke to me.
What did the cow say?
Madame Rose,
I'm not cooking in here, Mr. Kringeline.
open this door.
I'm dressing. That cow.
Madame Rose.
I'll call you tomorrow when I'm finished.
We actually had a lot of cameos from Broadway
You want to get on the Orpheum Circuit?
that were acclaimed stage actors. One of them was Keen Curtis, who plays Mr. Kringeline, who was just knocking at the door. He won a Tony Award as Best Supporting Actor in a Broadway musical called The Rothschilds.
I'm going to get more boys. I'm going to put the cow in the act, and Chowsy and the monkey, and Louise's present, if you don't mind, honey.
But, Mama, I don't even know what my present is.
There's Keen.
Cooking, Madame
Oh,
Rose.
how dare you enter a lady's boudoir without even knocking?
There is your hot plate.
There is your search warrant. Plan B.
Never in all my years of running a theatrical hotel have I ever.
If you don't even scream.
So this underscoring is something that was created for the movie, if I remember correctly. So this underscoring was not on stage, so this is something, an original piece of underscoring.
It's a damn zoo.
Profanity in front of my babies. June, get the Bible. Get the Bible.
You pack up this dirty menagerie and get out.
You don't have to throw me out, you rotten animal hater. That's what he is. Send for the SPCA.
Send for the police. I rented these 2 rooms to 1 adult and 3 children. And now I find 1 adult, 5 pets, and 1, 2, 3, 4.
You counted him twice. A simple little birthday party for my baby.
2, 3. Just stand still.
Chow mein. I'd offer you some, but there's only 1 egg roll.
How many people are living in that room?
What room, Mr. Kringeline?
This room, madam. This room.
There isn't a soul in this room, Mr. Kringeline.
No, what I mean.
Except you and me.
What are you doing?
Mr. Kringeline! What are you trying to do? Stop! Help! Help! Ray! My babies! My babies! Monster! Oh.
Madam Rose, are you
I seem to recall that in real life there was mythology about Madame Rose that in this sequence it actually happened in the hotel, that she actually threw the hotel manager out the window.
Yes, and there's a lot of mythology about Madame Rose. She threw people out of windows. She buried people in her backyard. She had numerous affairs with men and women. And right there is Michael Jeter, the late Michael Jeter. Michael, another great stage performer, went on to win the Tony Award for a Broadway musical called Grand Hotel. He's been a fantastic character actor, Emmy Award winner for a TV show called Evening Shade. Loves Gypsy and decided to play the non-speaking part of Mr. Goldstone as a favor to us and because he worshipped the show so much.
Yeah, he just wanted to be part of the group. He wanted to be in it. He said that, the idea that an acclaimed musical comedy star who's a terrific singer and dancer basically doesn't get to say a word.
Michael was in The Green Mile. His last film is The Polar Express.
Have a pork, put your feet up, feel at home. Have a smoke, have a coke. Would you like to hear a joke? I'll have June recite a poem. Have a lychee, Mr. Goldstone. Tell me any little thing that I can do.
So basically, we had Michael for 1 day of rehearsal and 1 day of shooting.
Everybody give a cheer, Santa.
But with this movie, because it was our first musical, it was so much trial and error. We had to figure out how to make a movie musical as we were going along. And we devised a lot of techniques and things that we later utilized when we went on to produce for television Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella with Whitney Houston and Brandy, and then Annie with Kathy Bates, and then The Music Man with Matthew Broderick, and then the feature film version of Chicago with Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Richard Gere.
And touchstones and such stones as them.
There are big stones and small stones.
One of the techniques that we picked up that we learned very early on, with the exception of the one number that we had to reshoot, was that we rehearsed each musical number, and when they were done, we had the director of photography come in and shoot with digital photography. In this case, there wasn't digital photography. It was a high 8 camera. Later on, we used digital video on the later musicals, but on this one, we used high 8. And our director of photography shot every single musical number in rehearsal, so we were able to see each number and pick it apart and decide how to put a shot list together and pick camera angles and all of that. And we realized that when you did that in advance in rehearsal, which doesn't cost you very much, that when you get on the stage and you actually shoot it, it goes very smoothly and rather quickly. But if you don't do that, as in the case of some people, it can be disastrous.
My birthday is here at last.
This song, Little Lamb, when it was done on stage, this was one of the numbers that, when the show was out of town, was always the one that the sort of Damocles hung over in terms of it being cut. But Julie Styne, the composer, said if this song was cut, he would take the rest of the score with him. And here it is. It's actually a very poignant, clever song, which tells kind of a backstory about Louise and how she has been neglected, thrown to the side. She lives in her own world. And just in terms of the disillusionment of her entire world.
Did somebody paint you like that? Or is it your birthday too?
And we had no problems with the lamb.
Little fish, do you think I'll get my wish? Little lamb.
When we were about to start the movie, we realized because it was unlike any other television movie, because it was a musical, because it was 3 hours, because it was so epic, it was going to cost more than any television movie. And at the time, we were asked by Jeff Sagansky to meet with a guy by the name of Robert Halmy, who has gone on to become one of the most famous, successful, and prolific producers on television through Hallmark Entertainment, which he and his son Robert Jr. took over after this movie was made. At the time, it was RHI Entertainment. That was their production company. And then later, they took control over Hallmark Entertainment.
Herbie's never angry. It's bad for his stomach. Come on, girls. Betty, bye.
Robert was incredibly generous in supporting this movie, writing a very large check in order to do the movie properly. And he was very committed and passionate about the film.
And he loved Bette.
Good night, Uncle Herbie.
Everybody loves Bette.
Good night, June. Good night, Louise.
Good night, Herbie. I'll cold clean their faces and be right back.
Rose, the hotel is...
And what's extraordinary about this production also is that every single set, other than the theaters, were built from scratch. This Chinese restaurant, the hotel rooms, the home of Rose's father, all built from scratch. It was all done in a studio out in the valley. We drive there, it was about 45 minutes to an hour outside of LA. We drive there every morning. We'd see these extraordinary sets.
They can skip the cold cream for one night. All this time we've been together and you still stand up for me.
I remember the night that we were filming this sequence, You'll Never Get Away From Me. We were visited on the set by Eric Preminger, who was Gypsy Rose Lee's son. And he came by and he was in awe of what was going on.
Honey, don't you know there's a depression?
Of course I know.
Because no one had ever spent this kind of money on a production for a TV movie before. I think people were in shock when they saw how extravagant the sets and costumes were.
And speaking of visitors, we've never had so many visitors want to come and visit a set as we did with Gypsy. I think people just felt that something special was happening.
We had to finally assign people to musical numbers, so we'd allow people to visit on a very small level, but we'd say pick a number and we'd stick them in a corner somewhere to observe.
Yeah, Bette really doesn't like a lot of visitors on the set, and she consents when there's an outsider there, so they just had to be shielded.
It isn't very polite of a gentleman to remind a lady that she welched. There was no date on that promise.
Rose, stop handing me that bull!
Your stomach. Oh, Herbie. Why don't you get angry on the outside instead of letting it settle in your stomach?
I'm afraid.
It's interesting because I think that, somebody who's a performer like Bette, who can do it all, found her match with this role, where she really was able to do the ferocity, the drama, the heartbreak, the comedy, because the piece is very, very funny, the sexiness of the character.
But during rehearsal, she was incredibly scared of the role, because it's like Hamlet in musical theater, and it's a bear to kind of tackle, and she knew she had some pretty large shoes to fill, and nobody works harder than Bette.
But a little thing like that couldn't stop me.
It's sort of impossible to do this project if you don't have an actress who's willing to put in relentless number of hours rehearsing until they're ready to collapse. And even shooting, we'd be there all night, almost till dawn, and we'd say, we have to wrap because everybody's so tired. And she would say, I don't think it's there. I think we need to do one more take. And we would do another take, and she would be right, because on that last take she would find something that was not there before.
There are better agents.
Not for me.
Even weaker men.
Not for me.
And what?
The great thing also in doing this is was capturing this piece with, again, arguably one of the greatest books ever written in Broadway history. Arthur Lawrence's script for Gypsy is sheer genius. And every line of dialogue, every moment, every scene is just extraordinary. The writing is extraordinary. Arthur, was the writer of The Turning Point and the writer of The Way We Were. And he started with, I think it was Rope. Wasn't it the Hitchcock movies?
So don't think that I'm easy picking.
The music's so nice.
But also Arthur's first foray into musicals was writing the book for West Side Story. He followed West Side Story with Gypsy. That's quite a double header.
Originally, when the show was supposed to be done, they had wanted Stephen Sondheim, who had written the lyrics to Leonard Bernstein's music for West Side Story. They wanted Steve to do the whole score, to write the music and lyrics. But Ethel Merman had just come off a big Broadway flop.
I think it was called Happy Hunting.
Happy Hunting. And she didn't want an unknown composer writing for her. So she insisted on Julie Styne. And at that point, Steve had to make the decision to start his career as a composer on Broadway, or to stay with it and just do the lyrics. and he decided, thank God, to do the lyrics.
A very smart decision.
Because his lyrics are extraordinary in this piece. They're just brilliant.
Actually, this musical is pretty flawless, which is why the decision to film it as written was the absolute right decision. There's nothing extraneous. Everything pays off. And there's the great Andrea Martin. Andrea Martin we have worshipped from SCTV, and she just was another joy to work with.
No, I have told her.
Hello, Mr. Granziger? Where is he?
He's in his office at the top of the theater.
Hi!
It's a pleasure to audition for you, Mr. Granziger.
It's one of those great theaters downtown LA.
He's nice.
We're ready now.
Oh, they're ready now, Mr. Granziger. Good luck.
Thank you.
We also were very, very lucky in this production to get Bob Mackie to design our costumes. At first, when his name came up, people had remembered him from the glitzy stuff that he had designed.
The Carol Burnett Show, the Cher Show, all these variety shows, which was all sparkly and all sequence. But if you look into the actual work that Bob does and had done, such as Lady Sings the Blues and Pennies from Heaven, you'll see an extraordinary designer.
So we were able to utilize Bob's great gifts in doing regular clothes for the scenes, and then when we make the transition into the strip, he designed the most staggeringly gorgeous costumes for Gypsy Rose Lee.
But also, what surprised us about working with Bob, I mean, Bob is arguably one of the biggest star designers in the business, but he would come to the set and he would be fitting extras, the background people, and he would care that much to go around and just care about his work and care about the quality of the overall show to just roll up his sleeves and do it all.
But as we were talking about earlier, I mean, we didn't know it at the time when we were shooting this, but it became the most important project we had ever done because it was the first movie musical. And because of this, it led to the future of TV musicals, which then led to Chicago. Chicago would have never been made if it hadn't been for Gypsy.
And Gypsy would never have been made if it weren't for Bette Midler. So we owe Bette Midler a lot. And we're just crazy enough as producers to have wanted to continue the perpetuation of doing musical films. And thank God for Bette. Thank God for the success of Gypsy. And it's led to a lot of really incredible audience-pleasing shows. Because we always believed that the musical film form was not dead.
Broadway, we've missed it so. We're leaving soon and taking...
The great moment for us was the morning after Gypsy aired. Up until the telecast of Gypsy, even though CBS was so excited and so proud of it, and feeling they've done something that nobody else was doing because of the expense, because of the cost, because of the extravagance of it. They were always so incredibly fearful that what happens if it tanked. And we'll never forget the phone call that came in very early the morning after the telecast when Jeff Sagansky called to say that the ratings were through the roof. It was a gigantic ratings success. And he said, we've changed the landscape of television, and that musicals can now be done on TV.
Broadway, Broadway, how great you are. I'll leave the farm with all its charm to be a Broadway star. Bright lights, white lights, where the neons glow. My bag is packed, I've got my act, so I'll afford, come on, let's go.
Watch this! It's a train! Woo, woo!
Goodbye, Caroline. Don't forget to write. Bye. Goodbye, Caroline.
But this also had proved to us that we could, even though it was a very large budget for television movie, it was an extremely low budget for a movie musical.
Why not, dainty June?
Because everything in life that really matters is right here.
Again, if you notice in the production design, everything is very, very colorful and very saturated. And it is on the stage numbers and it is in the scenes.
And it was a very conscious decision on the part of everybody, including the designers.
One of the hardest things we had to do was adapt. We had to find a way to adapt Jerome Robbins' choreography for film because we were basically taking stage choreography. Now, it was one thing to do these kiddie numbers, which take place on a proscenium stage, but it's another thing to do the musical numbers that were not in the theater and take that choreography and make it cinematic and make it movie-like.
Follow me up to the office. I'll make out the contracts.
Contracts for Gransinger's Palace! You won't be sorry, Mr. Gransinger! This is gonna make ya!
Yes. No, Mr. Granziger's busy. He's gone down to the stage.
This is one of those scenes that's sort of like an old vaudeville scene. It was written like a vaudeville routine.
They won't be much longer. She's got to eat sometime. Say, woman to woman. How old are you?
9.
9 what?
9 going on 10.
How long has that been going on?
Miss Cratchit, I think Mr. Granziger made a mistake in his contract.
So do I. Happy girls?
Yes, Mama.
No.
We auditioned for Granziger's Palace. This is for Granziger's Variety.
That's right.
But the Variety is way down on 14th Street.
He'll give you a visa to get there. Yes.
I'd like to talk to Mr. Granziger.
No, I told you he's gone down to the stage.
Then I'm going down to the stage.
Wait a minute, you can't disturb him while he's holding auditions.
Then I'll wait.
Listen, friend, strictly between us, if I were you, I'd sign that contract. There's only one item in that act of yours the boss likes. Dainty little June. He thinks she can be an actress.
He's right.
Can be, if.
If what?
If she goes to school for a solid year and takes acting lessons, he's ready to pay for everything. On one condition. You stay away.
Stay away. I'm her mother.
You said it. I didn't.
What about the act?
1 week at the Variety.
June is the act. How's it supposed to go on without her?
Rose, we could...
How are Louise and I supposed to live?
You might get a job, dear.
I have a job, dear, and I do it damn well. My daughters are my job, and I got 2 of them.
Mama, if June has a...
June is my baby. I'm her mother. Don't you dare answer that phone when I'm yelling at you. Nobody knows June like I do, and no one can do for her what I can.
Mama, this is my chance to be an actress. Mr. Granziger can make me a star.
We actually built this office set in one of the theaters. It saved us time, And there was a room that we were able to dress and build, and we recreated that right there.
Take a good look at this person.
Rose.
Oh, they're so smart in New York.
New York is the center of...
New York is the center of New York! There's a whole country full of people who know what a mother means to her daughter. It's hicks like you that don't know. And I'll tell you something else. Grantsinger's a hick. He'll get no place.
Rose.
He's trying to take my baby away from me. That's what he's trying to do. Well, over my dead body, he will.
Rose,
Just
come
a
on
minute.
now.
Just wait 1 minute.
No. Mama's just talking big, June. She won't really... She will. Well, maybe Mr. Grantziger would...
He won't.
I remember when we were shooting this, that Arthur Lawrence said that he thought that the chemistry between the two girls was really, really good.
Yeah, Arthur said that Cynthia Gibb and Jennifer Beck, who played Dainty June, were the best he's ever seen in any production, and he thought that Cynthia Gibb was better than Natalie Wood was in the movie with Rosalind Russell. That's high praise indeed.
I'm not a star.
Oh, you are.
I'm not. Mr. Grantziger can make me one.
Jennifer Beck just disappeared.
You a star, too.
Mama can do
She was
anything.
extraordinary, and
Anything she makes up.
she didn't go on to do much of anything after this.
Mama wants publicity, so she makes up a story that 3 nuns went blind sewing it. And now she believes it. She even believes
But her
it.
performance, Jennifer's performance, is so terrific because she really pulled off the character of being the older girl playing the child, but at the same time, you see the monster underneath of her growing despair and anger towards her mother.
Well,
And of course, Dainty June went on to become the actress June Havoc.
Too big for them now.
did you ever feel
And
like
she was a playwright, an author, an actress.
Mama's fault?
You can't blame everything on Mama.
Well, you can't, maybe. Wish she'd marry Herbie and let me alone.
Herbie doesn't want to marry her. All he cares about is the act.
Oh, honest, Louise.
Well, he's an...
I mean, Julie Styne had an extraordinary career of writing so many brilliant songs and did a lot of great Broadway musicals like Funny Girl. And in this particular case, every single song was extraordinary and every song was perfect. And a lot of people felt it was because of Stephen Sondheim pushing him so hard and not accepting anything except the best of his work. He made Julie work harder than he's ever worked before.
And it wasn't only Stephen Sondheim, it was Jerome Lawrence, it was Arthur Lawrence. It was a legendary collaboration of people.
I get all those hair.
It was so great that Steve decided to do the lyrics for this show, even though he didn't want to. He went to his mentor, Oscar Hammerstein II, who had guided him through those years, and he expressed his despair that he was supposed to write the music and lyrics for Gypsy and was then told he was only going to write the lyrics. And Steve, I think, had an impulse that he should depart the production at that point, but he had fallen in love with the story and about what the show was and the direction it was going in. And Oscar said to him, you know, if you love this so much and you love the piece so much, you know, do the lyrics, and then in a very short time you go off and do your own musical where you do music and lyrics, which was a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum.
What's really extraordinary is that Gypsy, again, is arguably one of the best things ever written for the theater, and has never been a huge Broadway hit. The original production on Broadway with Ethel Merman ran only as long as Ethel was in it, which was, I think, around 700 performances. Then it was revived again with Angela Lansbury in the 70s, and again did not have that long of a run. And then with Tyne Daly in the 90s, the early 90s, and it had a nice run. It always gets extraordinary reviews and usually wins the actress playing Rose the Tony Award, except Ethel Merman didn't win. Angela Lansbury did win. Tyne Daly did win. And then the most recent revival was pretty controversial when Bernadette Peters stepped into the role of Rose, and also did not have a very lengthy run. But yet, it keeps on getting done and done because the opportunities that it affords the actors and the designers is kind of can't be beat. So it will always be done. But it's never been one of the more popular musicals. Actually, the night that this aired, it probably was viewed by more people that one night than had ever seen it over the entire 40 years of its history. I think Bette really wanted to know what the numbers, the television numbers that we got for that night would translate in terms of box office. And Michael Eisner told her that if you took the ratings for that night and translated it into box office, in that one night the picture would have grossed over $100 million. It's a big hit.
And this is Jeffrey Broadhurst, who played Tulsa. This is always a really, really, really hard role to cast because it's such a difficult dance number. It's that Jerome Robbins choreographed, and it's such a big solo in the piece, and it's very hard to find a young guy who can act and play the part and then also do this solo number. So we went through so many auditions, and I think it came down to 2 people, and Jeffrey was chosen by the group and by
Mr. Robbins.
Yes.
What was extraordinary, though, about Jeffrey getting this part is that he actually had to sneak in to an audition. The casting director wouldn't see him, and he came to the open call for the women, got into the room that way, and then came back later.
Practicing on Monday after the matinee with the broom for your partner. I was up in the flies.
And this is kind of an interesting scene because even though it doesn't really look it, it's the only scene that we shot outdoors. We were actually in the alley of one of the theaters that we were shooting at downtown, and we were fighting the light because we were shooting this way into the night, up until the point we wrapped actually when the sun was coming through and we could no longer shoot.
Yeah, but yours are about a partner for your act.
Everyone to this day thinks that we built this set and that it was shot on a set, and they don't know that we actually shot it outdoors.
So we just put flats in the alleys and we threw some sparkle onto the ground to give it that musical look later on in the number you'll see.
But they always look at the girl in a dance team, especially if she's pretty.
Oh, makeup can help. And costumes?
A lot of this we took artistic license with and changed the lighting for this number during the course of the number. At the beginning of the number right here, we have our regular movie lighting, which is more realistic. And as his fantasy grows and as the number builds, we used, well, first of all, here we use a spot, which...
And you can take a look at the ground and you see the sparkle.
Yeah, we painted this sparkle glitter onto the ground to give it that sheen. And as the number builds, we use more and more gels, so you can see, even starting here, where the colors start coming into the number.
Because this is actually the fantasy that Louise has of Tulsa because she's desperately in love with him. And this is what she wants to do. This is her escape. So she sees this as her fantasy escape from reality. And you'll see the glitter in the background.
And again, you can see how the surroundings are bluish, purplish.
And we actually, when we cut back and you see the alley, we put a truck there so you couldn't see the modern world behind it. So that truck was to block out any of the contemporary street that was behind it.
She'll just appear. We'll take this big town for a while.
So there's Jeffrey Broadhurst singing and dancing his heart out at 4 and 5 in the morning.
One of the things that we talked about earlier was that we were blessed by using many of the extraordinary landmark theaters in downtown Los Angeles, which are so beautiful because they have been retained the way they were when they were built. The only problem is that each of those theaters is overrun by rats. And when we would sit in the theater and film, while we'd sit in the orchestra seats, we'd have rats scurrying across our shoes. We'd feel them, we'd see them. They'd be scampering around the entire time we were shooting. And one terrifying moment when we shot this number in the alley is one member of the crew bent down to pick something up, and out of nowhere, a rat leapt out and jumped on him and clung to his neck, dug his feet into the guy's neck, and the guy was screaming and freaking out and trying to get the rat off him. The more he tried to get him off, the more he dug in because the rat got scared. And it was one of those truly horrific moments.
This number is so poignant because it really is all about Louise's longings.
This step's good for the costume.
A stair bit.
I remember we had this conversation back and forth as to whether or not we should use spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately we decided that we would do it.
Yeah, it's the biggest leap of faith you have to make in this movie because we are going for the entire fantasy element of it.
And it's Louise's fantasy, and this is how she imagines her life to be, or wants her life to be. Kind of heartbreaking.
Once more.
And you can also see the reality of the way she's lit versus the fantasy of the way he's lit.
Well, it's the reality of her life. Louise was always in the shadow. She was in the shadow of her sister, in the shadow of her mother.
And all the lights come up, and I build for the finale! Hey, that's it, Louise! Do it over here! Follow me!
See, we bathed the lights with more color now. Louise is still outside of the spotlight until he grabs her and pulls her in.
And lots of pink gel now on top of the blue gel, and you can see the glitter sparkling on the ground all the way down the alley.
Hey, come on.
This was a vast set that we had to build. We had to build the railroad
This
station.
one sequence, but of course, this is one of the most important sequences in the movie with one of the best-known songs ever written.
Then let them quit. They want their train tickets back? Give them their bus tickets back. What's keeping those girls?
There's plenty of time, Rose.
And you say they're old enough to take care of themselves.
Look, fellas, I know...
This was another sequence where we got into a debate about pre-record versus live, and we actually convinced Bette Midler to sing Everything's Coming Up Roses live.
Herbie.
How long is it going to take you to get used to me, Rose?
And here, Bette would do take after take after take, because we all knew the importance of her doing this correctly.
Herbie, they were both rotten in the act anyway.
Okay. Thanks, Herbie. Only we'd like tickets for all the fellows.
All the fellas?
They asked us.
You're all leaving?
Yes, sir, Herbie.
Something's funny. Something's very funny here.
Why, Yonkers?
See, the sequence is really about Rose having a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
Here at this point.
And the number is a very Norma Desmond number. It's somebody who's literally lost her mind.
Don't give me any of your poems to read now. Answer me.
June wrote this to you.
What for? What's she writing me for?
Because her world is crumbling around her with this. All of the dreams she's had for herself are going to disappear very quickly.
She eloped. She didn't elope, stupid. They got married 3 weeks ago.
Who got married?
June and Tulsa.
June.
Only they had to wait until their act was ready before they took off.
It's a keen act, ain't it, Louise?
I've never seen it.
We ain't rats, Herbie. We just know that without June...
Where'd they go?
Well, first they got a club date
Big
in Kansas.
Mouth. Could we have the tickets now?
I remember Arthur Lawrenson talking about how the actress plays to this number, as with Rose's turn later on, is that the actress should not cry. Rosalind Russell cried.
Good luck.
Thanks, Herbie. Good luck to you. Good luck.
Because this is a very easy number where the actress playing Rose will demand sympathy from the audience, but that's not the way it was written.
Come on, Ellie.
And it's an extraordinary song because the imagery is all sort of fluffy and flowery, and yet what's going on dramatically in the song and in the scene and in the life of that character is the opposite.
I could be a district manager and we can stay put in one place. Louise can go to school. Rose? Rose, honey, you still got Herbie. You can marry me, and I promise you, you won't have one single worry the rest of your life. Don't you want that?
Yes. Oh, Mama, say yes.
This is an important moment because also for the first time, Louise accepts Herbie for the very, very first time in the show and sees him as a potential father figure and sees that they could be a family.
Okay.
And get on with their lives after the act is clearly over.
Everything happens for the best. Okay, so the act's finished, but you and me and our daughter, we're gonna have a home. Say, we even got a cow for the backyard. Why, we are gonna be the best damn family ever was.
I'm used to people walking out. When my own mother did it, I cried for a week. Your father did it. Then the man I married after him did it, and... well, this time I ain't crying. This time I'm apologizing. To you. I pushed you aside for her.
It's actually very scary.
No, Mama. Now she says I can't make her an actress like she wants to be. The boys walked, they think the act is finished. They think we're nothing without her. She's nothing without me! I'm her mother and I made her! And I can make you now. I'm gonna make it up to you for all the years I pushed you in the back. And I will, my baby, I swear I will. I'm gonna make you a star. I'm gonna build a whole new act all around you.
When this scene was originally done out of town with Ethel Merman on the stage, the audience laughed here, and everybody was thrown by it, and Ethel Merman was really rattled by it because it's such a dramatic scene. But the audience was just so stunned and surprised at how far this woman would go.
I had a dream about you, baby. It's gonna come true, baby. They think that we're through, but baby, you'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on the plate. Starting here, starting now. Honey, everything's coming up roses. Clear the decks, clear the tracks. You got nothing to do but relax. Blow a kiss, take a bow. Honey, everything's coming up roses. Now's your inning. Stand the world on its ear. Set it spinning. That'll be just the beginning. Curtain up, light the lights. You got nothing to hit but the heights. You'll be swell. You'll be great. I can tell. Just you wait. That lucky star I talk about is done. Honey, everything's coming up roses for me and for you. You can do
is a hand. We can do it. Mama is gonna see to it. Curtain up, slide the lights. We got nothing to hit but the heights. I can tell. Wait and see. There's the bell. Follow me, and nothing's
And you can see Mama Rose, Bette, escaping into this madness.
And you can see it also has nothing to do with her daughter.
Everything's gonna be bright lights and lollipops. Everything's coming up roses for me and for you.
And that's how the first act ended in the theater. Curtain came down, and it was intermission.
At our premiere, at the end of this this number, there was such screaming and pandemonium, you couldn't even hear anything at all because it was chaos, and the roof just blew off the theater. And Jeff Sagansky, who was in the audience, came running up the aisle and came over to us and said, "This is the greatest moment I've ever had in show business." I think that we were extremely happy and proud of the production design that Jack DeGovia did. I think this is the only sequence that all of us felt was a letdown, because somehow, no matter what he tried to do, he could not figure out how to do outdoors where it sort of looked semi-realistic. I mean, this looks like a set, and it was never meant to look like a set. It was meant to look like it was heightened reality, but we were outdoors, and no matter what happened, it never, ever worked.
Olé, everybody! My name is Louise. What's yours?
Well, it's coming along.
Mama, I'm just no good at it.
Don't be silly. Let's try the finale. If you have a good, strong finish, they'll forgive you for anything. You're late. Come on now, girls. Make it stirring. Pick your feet up, Louise.
We should actually talk about Bill Reynolds.
Bill Reynolds was our editor. He, I don't know if he's ever did anything after this, but he was the Academy Award-winning editor of The Sound of Music and West Side Story. Worked a lot with Robert Wise. And when we were trying to figure out who should edit this, we needed somebody with some great musical expertise. And so we went to the grand master of musicals, Bill Reynolds. I don't think he had ever done anything for television at that point, and he just signed on. A true gentleman. Great stories about Robert Wise, great stories about his past, and the elegance of the editing was extraordinary.
This was also the last movie that we were involved with where we actually edited on film. After this, everything went to the Avid, where everything was computerized, everything was digital, everything was put into the machine. Here we were actually editing on real film stock and splicing, actually splicing the film together. And, you know, it's such, when you look back at it, it was, of course, early on, it was the only way movies were made. But looking at it in retrospect, it's amazing, because when you wanted to experiment, when you wanted to try something editorially, it took forever to change a scene or to try something. And then if it didn't work, you had to go put it all back together again and re-splice it. Now, of course, you can, in an Avid machine, you can try something in seconds. And if it doesn't work, go back to what you had, because it's saved the same way as any computerized format. So this was,
We got Herbie for
it was an extraordinary experience editing on film.
And you both got me to yell at. Wherever we go,
Whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together.
There's also a very funny story about the soundtrack of this movie. From the very first day that we started, we all, of course, agreed that we had to have a soundtrack album because it's such an event to have Bette Midler singing the score of Gypsy. And we wanted to memorialize that performance and the movie. And what ended up happening was that Bette got into her head from the very beginning that she did not want to compete on record with the Ethel Merman recording. And during the entire course of making the movie, she insisted that there would never be a soundtrack album. And this discussion, shall we say, went on every day on the set. Sometimes got quite heated. We had people from the crew coming over to us and saying, "It's a really good day. Please don't bring up the soundtrack album again." Because everybody knew that the moment we got into a discussion of the soundtrack album that it was going to end badly. And finally, we said, you know what? We're never going to stop talking about the soundtrack album because we were determined that we were going to have that album no matter what. And we finally went into the recording studio to mix the songs with Bette. And she sat there and listened to the playback of the whole score. And she was so pleased with the way everything sounded and with her vocals in particular that she turned to us and said, "Why don't we do an album?" And we said, "That's a great idea." And there was the soundtrack for Gypsy.
And also in this sequence, you can see that Louise is becoming more and more womanly, that she's growing out of her tomboy phase.
Here are the letters, Madam Rose.
That's a good.
And that's Rachel Sweet. Rachel Sweet has a very unusual career path. Songwriter, actress. She is now one of the most well-known half-hour sitcom writers in the business.
Louise, your hair.
It's yours if you want it.
Gee, I always wanted to be a blonde.
Then get some peroxide and a toothbrush. Wigs are expensive.
And a total original. I mean, she's so original and so fresh, and she can do just about anything. And we were so excited to have her in the movie.
We had worked with her on another movie prior to that, and we thought that she'd be perfect casting for Agnes. It's a really good small part.
Also, you should mention about Hairspray.
It's interesting with that Rachel, she always had these multiple careers going on. She was friendly with John Waters, and she wrote the title song for the movie of Hairspray, the John Waters movie.
She wrote it and sang it, right?
She wrote it and performed it in the movie, yep. Not in the movie, she performed it on the soundtrack to the movie.
Okay. We go in a groove, we tour in a troop, we land in the soup, but we know the things we do by three's a perfect team. No, this way, Louise, together, together, wherever, together, wherever we go.
And now we're in burlesque. Vaudeville is almost dead.
Oh, Marjorie May, we've arrived at last! Louise, look! A real live theater!
That flood!
Oh, it's just like opening day rehearsals used to be. Mama's gonna love it.
Will you kill that flood? Will you shut your hole?
She isn't gonna love that. Or that. What kind of an act is that?
Okay, jailbait. You the Hollywood blondes?
Yes.
You're late.
Well, our car
Skip
broke down.
it. Now, some of you dogs can use this dressing room. The rest, the one up there. This one you share with Tessie Tour, the Texas
My
Twirler.
mother doesn't
That
like us.
one with Mazeppa Revolution and Dance. Shake it up. Oh, so you're the act that's supposed to keep the cops out? You must be lousy.
It's a real live theater, all right.
He reminds me of my brother.
Oh, Amanda, don't start sniveling now. Come on, grab the cow and anything else you can carry and go in there. Marjorie May, why don't you take the other girls into the second room and start unpacking?
All right, come on, let's prep this rehearsal.
Ooh. Look at this. That tessitura must be a very fancy lady.
She must also be a pig. Louise!
I'm here, Mama.
Here, let me help you. Louise, we're back in the theater, a real theater. Mama, where's Herbie? He went out front to check the billing. Good morning.
Oh, no, no, no.
And that's Christine Ebersol, who plays Tessitura. Christine has had a really wonderful career, and just recently she won a Tony Award as Best Actress in a Musical for 42nd Street, the revival.
Big joke. I'm out there bumping my brains off with no action, and she's being witty. Hey, you with the neck. I paid $6 for that G-string. Now back where you found it.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, Bob Mackie did an extraordinary job on all the stripper costumes.
Get the bags. Get the props. Get the cow.
Now, Mama.
You don't know what kind of people these are. You don't know what kind of a theater this is.
Yes, I do. It's a house of burlesque.
A house of burlesque. Do you know what that is? Phil, that's what. I tell you, when your friend Herbie shows his face.
Mama, I'm sure Herbie didn't know.
Not much he didn't.
We got
Agnes!
looking over the telephone.
Agnes!
Mama, we were all so happy.
Agnes, damn it!
Madam Rose, you know my name isn't Agnes anymore.
It's Agnes. And I want you and the rest of those girls out of this hellhole in 2 seconds flat.
But Madam Rose...
March!
Yes, ma'am.
Wait in the other room.
I'll take the front end of the cow. You take the rear, and what bags we can't carry, your friend Herbie can damn well pick up and carry for himself. Now, you listen to me, Louise. Just because you think your friend Herbie can do no wrong.
This has nothing to do with Herbie.
You don't know what burlesque is.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. No, daughter of mine.
What's extraordinary about some of these scenes that you don't even need the music. They're just such great dramatic scenes. The writing is perfect.
Their allowances. How much do we have?
Something will turn up.
Well, something has turned up, and this is it. Mama, we're flat broke. We've got to take this job. Even if you wanted to quit and go home right now, we'd have to take this job.
I had a dream.
Mama.
Oh, you'll like this one. I had it over a week ago, only I didn't want to tell. I was home in Seattle, and the cow came into my room. Only this time she wasn't dancing and smiling. She was wheezing and sad-like. She came right over to my bed, looked at me, and said, Rose, move over.
I'm sorry, Mama.
Why? She didn't ask you to move over.
No, I mean, I'm sorry I'm not good enough in the act.
Oh, it's the act that ain't good enough, baby.
Rose?
In here, Herbie.
Rose, I didn't know, believe me.
I do, honey. What the hell? It's only 2 weeks. The money's good. Maybe by that time something will turn up, right? Right.
You're a nice girl, Rose. Thank
That's
you.
show business.
One good thing, I bet we got top billing.
No, we're featured, though.
Second?
Actually, they had us lost in the middle. I thought last was better, and so it says, and Rose Louise and her Hollywood blondes. And I'm making them put a box around it. They'll use a lot of pictures.
Forget the box, Herbie. Forget the pictures.
But, Mama, if they...
You don't know what they say in the business. But Herbie does. They say once a vaudeville act plays in burlesque, that means it's all washed up. Nothing's gonna turn up for us, is it, Herbie?
No.
I guess it is a pretty rotten act.
It ain't the act, honey. I've been telling you, vaudeville's dead. Stone cold dead.
Well, we sure as hell tried.
We sure as hell did.
Nobody can say we didn't last right up to the very end.
Sure as hell can.
Right? Right.
Well, I better get the cues ready.
Herbie? How about marrying me?
Sure.
I love you, you know.
I know.
Do it today. Not while we're in burlesque.
The day we close.
It's a deal. Oh, Herbie, I do, honey, I do.
So do I, Rose.
Hey, Rose Louise, where the hell's your music and light cues?
You right with you.
You Rose Louise?
Yeah, I'm Rose Louise.
Things are looking up. Well, I got a show to open, Rose Louise, so move your ass.
Listen, you little punk, for the next 2 weeks, you're gonna speak like a Sunday school teacher. You've got something in this theater you've never seen before. A lady. Look at her. That is a lady. That is also a lady. Every girl in this damn act is a lady. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now go on stage and I'll give you those cues when I'm ready.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh, sir, won't you give me your protection? I'm a lady, too. Hey, the damn thing worked! Well, if you like...
So the major saga of Gypsy, of this production, is the journey that we took with our director, Emil Ardolino. We, as we talked about earlier, we looked around and to see who could possibly direct this movie, and he was the #1 best choice, and we were so excited to get him, and that he did turn down Sister Act 2 to do this. And we started rehearsals, and everything was fine, and everything was going great, and then over the course of rehearsals, we noticed slightly that he got tired a lot. And by the time we started actually filming, we noticed he was tired a lot more. And during the course of shooting the movie, he would start falling asleep at the monitor.
This would be within the first 2 weeks.
And then Bob Mackey came over to Neil one day and said, what's going on? And Neil said, what do you mean? And he said, I'm kind of worried. What's happening? And Neil said, what are you talking about? And he said, Emil asked me for suspenders because his pants can't stay up.
And as soon as he said the line about the suspenders, I knew exactly what was going on.
We were all in denial. Nobody wanted to face it. Nobody wanted to deal with it. We didn't want to believe it. We didn't want to contemplate what it meant. But we finally confronted Emil, and
we were gathered into the trailer one day by his producing partner, Cindy Gilmore, who was a producer on the film, and Emil wasn't there, and it was Bette, it was Craig, myself, Bonnie Bruckheimer, and Cindy. I don't remember, was a doctor there?
Yeah, I think there was a doctor, and the doctor was there.
And that's when Cindy and the doctor informed us that Emil had AIDS and had to be taken to the hospital because one day he did not show up.
And we were devastated because we were all madly in love with Emil as a person, and the news was shattering. Plus, there we were in the middle of our first big musical, and we more than ever, you needed a strong director to guide the show, and to realize that he was sick, to realize that at any time he could go into the hospital and disappear.
Well, he was in the hospital the day he didn't show up.
But to go in the hospital and not come back. We were so frightened and so upset and depressed and sad, and we were sort of confused at first because we didn't know what to do. We went to Jeff Sagansky and we went to Robert Halmy.
Well, the doctor at that point assured us that he could return to work and finish the film. But they didn't want us to tell anybody. It was in 1993, there was still a phobia, and still it was not something that people owned up to in terms of their illness. And Emil, of course, was worried about his continued career, and we had to make some decisions as to who to inform.
And we informed the network and the studio, basically, and we all agreed that we would not replace him, that we would continue on. But the difference would be that instead of 100% leaning on Emil as the director, as you would for any production, every single second of shooting, we had to be there next to Emil on the set, round the clock, because he would forget to get close-ups in a scene, or he wouldn't remember what we had done in rehearsal that we all agreed to. And Bette was devastated. She was just totally devastated when she got the news, and she was so loyal, and she rallied and agreed to basically support Emil continuing on the show, and we would all group together and be a team that would get the show made, despite the fact that the director was only partially there.
And we wouldn't tell anybody on set what was going on, yet everybody knew. But we made a pact that we would not discuss it. So, I mean, it was kind of like this big wink that we had with everybody, and everybody, it was an extraordinary moment in terms of everybody pulling together and supporting this man who we all loved, and who would consistently fall asleep and try to move on without finished scenes. We were all there to support him and make sure that the work was as good as it could possibly be.
So it was a terrifying experience, because again, it would have been a terrifying experience doing Gypsy as a movie for television anyway. It was so ambitious and so large a production, and then to also have to support a director who was there part of the time, and part of the time, was a little bit out of it. So it was extremely painful and difficult. So it was very emotional. We were always emotional during the entire making of the film. It also started to make sense to us because Emil had committed to do Gypsy, and then right before we signed a contract with him, there was a period of a couple of weeks where it looked like he was going to pull out. And they never told us why. They never told us why he thought he might not want to do it. And of course, we had become so close to him that we also felt that if Emil had pulled out and not done it, that there would be no way to find another director in time that Bette would be comfortable with. And we saw the entire production falling apart. We really, really felt right before we started that the entire movie would collapse and production would never start. So finally, at the very last minute, Emil came back and said, I've determined that I do want to do it and I can do it. And we had never known why there was that couple of weeks where things were shaky. And then, of course, we understood, because he probably came to the realization that he was taking on such an ambitious show and that he was not well, and worried about whether he'd be able to get through it or not.
I'm electrifying, and I ain't even trying. I never have to sweat to get paid.
So he was able to finish the film with a great deal of support, and then go into the editing room after we wrapped and prepare his cut.
And after his cut was delivered, which was only a very first cut of the movie, he then became really sick and was home, and then went into the hospital. And we then had to finish the movie. We had to finish the editing of the movie ourselves with the editor. We had to do all of post-production without the director. The scoring and the looping and the mixing and the dub of the film and color correction. Everything was done without a director present. And everybody kept asking where the director was and why there was no director there. And we had to make up excuses that he was busy and booked onto another movie and he was off working, doing another film, when in effect he was in the hospital. And the one moment that we had hoped for is that when we had the premiere, we had made sort of contingency plans that we would sort of fill the theater and then at the last minute bring him in very secretly from a side door and plop him in a seat in the back of the theater so he could see the finished movie and see it with an audience and have that experience. But he was too sick to come. And from the time of that premiere till the time it aired on CBS, he passed away.
And subsequently, he never saw the film finished.
No.
He was never able, he was too ill to even see the finished film.
And we dedicated the movie to him so that there was a dedication on the movie in the credits, in the end credits, for its broadcast. He was not with us when the movie was broadcast on CBS.
And he was an extraordinary man, an extraordinary talent. And there's some sort of wonderful irony that the passion that kind of informed his life became the last project he ever did.
It's for the wedding. Madam Rose and I want you to be bridesmaid, Amanda.
No, it's Agnes again.
You'll be happier as
So as emotional as Gypsy was for us in general, and as important as it was for us, it became also associated with this traumatic passing of a very good friend and our director. I've never seen anybody rally the way Bette did. Any other star would have panicked and would have said, I can't get through this and I can't do this without a director who's going to be at the top of his form, watching every single moment of my performance and of the movie. And she said, we're going to get through this and we're going to be a family and we're going to kill ourselves and work really, really hard and do this as a team and do it for Emile. And she did and we did.
And so not only was it a triumph for Emile, this was a big personal triumph for Bette as well. Because Bette was our producing partner as well as her partner, Bonnie Barkheimer.
Bonnie was extraordinary to work with on the film. She was such an incredible producer and support team for us.
They'll yell murder if it's the same bag they've been seeing for the past 8 weeks. The star's a novelty.
And what do you want I should do? Let you strip?
My daughter can do it. Rose Louise.
Since when?
Ever since she's been here to see how little there is to it.
This is another horrifying moment in the movie and in the show where Rose just won't give up.
Well, she better get ready right damn quick.
It's the star spot.
You're telling me?
That means the star salary.
If we keep her.
You will. She's gonna be wonderful. I knew something would turn up. Where's that dress you were gonna make for Tessie? It'll work perfect for you. Well, come on. Get your makeup on. There ain't much time. Oh, silly. You ain't really gonna strip. All you'll do is walk around the stage in time to the music and drop a shoulder strap at the end. You're a lady, like Herbie says you are. You just parade so grand, they'll think you're doing them a big favor if you even show them your knee. Louise, it's the star spot. I always promised my daughter we'd be a star. Baby, it's all right to walk out when they want you. But you can't walk out now when after all these rotten years we're still a flop. That's quitting. We can't quit because we're a flop. Louise, don't be like June. Just do this so we can walk away proud because we made it. Maybe only in burlesque. Maybe only in second-rate burlesque at that. But let's walk away a star.
These are the kind of scenes where we're talking about the writing where you would see in a play, but you would not generally see in the book for a musical.
Didn't I tell you you were born lucky? You can unpin him and drop him every once in a while so
This is really great drama.
Not too much makeup, baby. Young and girlish. Pure. Don't smear that junk all over your face like they do. You keep your mouth the way the Lord made it. No rouge, no beauty marks. You be a lady. Grand, elegant, with a classy ladylike walk. Shoes. Oh my God, shoes. Ah, well, you could wear these old silver ones I borrowed from
I remember when we were looping the movie, Bette was doing her show at Radio City. It was an extraordinary engagement for her. She was breaking all records in New York, and her shows are marathon shows. So Bette would do her show from 8 to 11 at Radio City, and then she'd come over to the looping stage at midnight. I'd have food prepared for her, and she would loop from about midnight till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then go back to her home and go to sleep. And she would do this. We had several sessions over the course of 2 weeks where she would come straight from her gig at Radio City.
A wedding present from Tessie.
Luckily, Bette's the kind of performer who comes alive at night.
Yeah.
So she has no problem working until 5 in the morning.
Oh, military, no. Say, you can do June's Let Me Entertain You number. I'll mark her for the conductor to repeat 2 choruses slow. No, 2.5 choruses. And sing out, Louise. You just walk and dip. My girl's a lady.
Make them beg for more, and then don't give it to them.
Let's see. Anything else? Where you been? Out front?
No, I got sick to my stomach and threw up.
But you feel better now?
No.
Herbie, I had to.
This dressing room is a set that we built on the soundstage. We matched the look of the theater.
I apologize.
No, let me. For my resemblance to a mouse. No to a worm the way I've crawled after you. No more, Rose, I won't. I was even gonna crawl away from you because my stomach started to turn over at the idea of coming back and telling you we're finished.
Tell me tomorrow after we're married.
We're never getting married.
Sure we are, first thing in the morning.
Never! Not if you got down on your knees and begged! Oh, I still love you, but all the vows from here to doomsday, they couldn't make you a wife. I want a wife. I'm gonna be a man if it kills me.
So you're killing me.
Nobody can kill you.
You're jealous. Just like every man I've ever known. Jealous because my girls come first. Well, they always did and they always will.
Then why did June leave?
I don't want to hear her name.
She didn't want the act any more than Louise wants this.
Louise does.
She'll leave like June did.
Never. She's gonna be a star.
She's gonna be a star! If it kills you and her, she's gonna be a star someplace. Where are you gonna be when she gets married?
She won't be getting married for years. She's a baby.
Sure.
Anyway, her career will always come first.
That's right. That is right.
And that's the extraordinary thing about this role and about Bette's performance. She is such a monster, and yet you have such empathy for her. It's so heartbreaking.
Maybe Louise won't.
Don't leave, Herbie. I need you.
What for?
A million things.
Just one would be better. Goodbye, honey. Be a good girl.
You go to hell.
Come on, get her music to the conductor, and you better stand by me for the light cues. I just hope you know what you're doing.
Lucky. You're a man who likes children. That's an important sign. Lucky. I'm a woman.
Of course, there's another example of Bette singing live.
funny. Small and funny.
And also coming to the brink of crying and yet not. And still not even acknowledging her daughter.
I'll take this to the conductor. Just remember you're a lady. And you are going to be a star.
And this is the great transformational moment in the show when we see her and she sees herself as a woman. And after a whole lifetime of being told she was unattractive, she realizes that she wasn't.
I'm pretty. I'm a pretty girl, Mama.
We kind of purposely made the music kind of ghost-like here, to kind of that she's in sort of a trance.
You look beautiful. Good luck, honey. Are you nervous? What? I said, are you nervous, baby?
No, Mother.
Wichita's one and only burlesque theater presents
Mama?
Miss Gypsy Rose Lee.
Louise!
And the woman who plays Mazeppa, the stripper with the trumpet, her name is Linda Hart, and she was formerly one of Bette's harlots.
Sing out, Louise!
And created the role in Hairspray on
She
Broadway.
created the role of Mrs. Von Tussle in the original Broadway cast of Hairspray, so she's had an extraordinary career on stage, screen, and television.
The series of strip sequences posed a big problem for us because we had to create the sense that we were following the growth of her career and to the point where she became famous, and yet we didn't have any money for extras, so we had to create with sound the ambiance of an audience out there jeering at her because we didn't have any extras. I mean, there was one day where we did have extras.
That's in her big strip sequence.
And where you'll see, yes, where we actually saved all of the extras for one big sequence. And then your imagination fills in the other extras. But we also actually had another piece of this where we did have extras, and because Emile was not well, he sent the extras home, and after they had left, we had realized that they had been dismissed, and we were not able to shoot that sequence with an audience.
Lee. What's yours? Sir? Mr. Conductor, if you please.
And this is an extraordinary performance on the part of Cynthia Gibb. her whole transformation into becoming the world-famous stripper Gypsy Rose Lee from her awkward beginning. And it's also a wonderful showcase for Bob Mackie and his costumes. They get more and more elaborate and more beautiful.
The Alhambra Theater of Philadelphia brings you our featured attraction, Miss Gypsy Rose Lee.
Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. I'm beginning to like this. My mother, who got me into this business, always told me, make them beg for more, and then don't give it to them. But I'm not my mother. So if you beg for more, I'll give it to you. And we'll have a real good beg.
The Diamond Burlesque of Detroit presents another jewel in our glittering ground, Miss Gypsy Rose Lee.
The Old Howard Theater of Boston invites all you floundering mothers to the most spectacular event, Miss Gypsy Rose Lee.
What am I gonna do when big hats go out?
And here we finally have an audience.
Presents the queen of the striptease, the incomparable Miss Gypsy Rose Lee, in our salute to the garden of...
And yes, this is all very tacky on purpose.
Pack up your petals, girls, and back to the garden. Bonsoir, messieurs et messieurs.
I mean, speaking of audiences, there was one take. We were doing this final strip, and Cynthia, of course, got down to very little, and she was wearing pasties on her breasts. And one take, the pasties popped off, leaving her exposed, and the extras started hooting and hollering and completely embarrassed Cynthia to the point where she dissolved into tears because the extras were very rude to her at that moment. And she's an actress, she's not a stripper, so of course it's going to be embarrassing to her.
It was actually the first wardrobe malfunction.
That's correct.
For CBS.
You did.
But in this case, it was not planned.
And didn't air.
Right.
Don't be embarrassed. I like men without hair. An enthusiast is one who, or that which, sheds its skin. In vulgar parlance, a stripper. But I'm not a stripper. At these prices, I'm an enthusiast. And if you're real good, I'll make you feel good. I
those are the things that popped off. So, needless to say, when she was shooting this, she was very nervous.
Sure, I saw that sign.
And this scene is one of the great scenes in the piece between mother and daughter. And you know, addressing the issue of it being one of the most brilliant shows of all time, and yet a show that didn't run very long in any of its productions. Stephen Sondheim always felt that the reason for that is because it's a show about parents living the lives of their children vicariously. And it's a subject matter that's painful for an audience and therefore uncomfortable for an audience.
No, I'll be dead. Renee, tell Sam he can lock the animals up for the night.
I'll tell him.
Mother, please. And Renee, bring in my press agent.
It's also a story about parents being the adult to their children, and then as they get older, they become the children, and the children become the parents. So all of these are very heavy psychological, dramatic pieces that make it very hard for an audience to face.
Phil's taking care of all that. Phil, he's a rotten press agent. He never tells him we headline the Orpheum Circuit. I've got it.
Hello. Hello.
I always thought this set was gorgeous. I mean, from the moment this set was designed and dressed, and we walked on this set, it was just ravishing. It was so beautiful.
I promise. Abiento.
Abien what?
I guess I'm being a little much. But, Mama, I love it.
All right. Who's giving the party?
Some friends.
In the old days, I was always invited first. Well, I wouldn't go even if I did have something to wear. I got more important things to do. Like thinking up an idea for a new strip for us.
Mother, we're still stuck with that wind machine you bought to blow my clothes off. Actually, I'm putting in a new number on Saturday.
What is it?
You'll see.
I'll see.
Let me surprise you.
These days, you're just one big surprise after another. Well, we have to go shopping tomorrow for the material for the gown.
I've got a French lesson tomorrow.
Oh, well, I'll go alone. Any particular color you have in mind?
Mother, I've already started making the gown.
Oh. Well, well, I better run your bath.
You don't have to. That's what I've got it made for.
Let me do something, damn it.
What, Mother?
A million things. A million things. I'm not a baby.
Neither am I.
Don't you take that tone to me. Your sister used to get that edge to her voice.
I am not June.
You're not Louise either.
Neither are you.
Oh, yes, I am. More than you, Miss Gypsy Rose Lee, with your dirty pictures for Vogue.
Mother,
and your maids and your press agents and your fancy friends with their fancy parties.
They happen
I'll go
to
right
be.
invited to those parties. They laugh at her.
They don't
They
laugh.
do. Don't think I don't know that's one reason why you don't want me backstage. So I won't hear them laugh. But it's them you ought to keep out, not me. Because they're laughing at you, too. You, the burlesque queen who speaks lousy French and reads book reviews like they was books.
Turn it off,
You know
Mother.
what you are to them? A circus freak. This year's novelty act, and when the bill is changed,
I said turn it off. Nobody laughs at me. Because I laugh first. At me. Me. From Seattle. Me with no education. Me with no talent, as you've kept reminding me my whole life. Well, look at me now. A star. Look at how I live. Look at my friends. Look at where I'm going. I'm not staying in burlesque. I'm moving. Maybe up, maybe down. But wherever it is, I'm enjoying it. Mama, I am having the time of my life because for the first time it is my life. And I love it. I love every second of it, and I'll be damned if you're going to take it away from me. I am Gypsy Rose Lee. And I love her. And if you don't, you can clear out right now.
Madame, your press agent is here with a photographer.
Tell him I'll be ready in a minute.
Oui, madame.
Mama, we can't go shouting 7 performances of this a week.
The whole family shouts. Comes from our living so near the railroad tracks.
I'm getting an ulcer.
You think I'm not?
Yes, I think you're not. And if you want an ulcer, Mama, get one of your own. You can't have mine.
Everybody's got stomach trouble but me. Louise, let's forget it.
No, Mama, let's finish it.
I gotta go feed Chowsy.
Mama, you fought your whole life. I wish you could relax now.
You need more mascara on your left eye.
Mama, you've got to let go of me.
I'll let go.
I'll give you anything you want.
You need me.
A house, a farm, a school, a dramatic school for kids.
Well, what's interesting is eventually she did open up an acting school for children for Mama Rose.
He does it all on his own. But I'm not a kid anymore.
And this scene leads into one of the more, if not the most extraordinary final numbers in musical history.
Don't slam the door as you leave.
And one in which Arthur Lawrence said that Bette Midler does Rose's Turn better than anybody he's ever seen.
Enchanté, monsieur.
Enchanté, mademoiselle. Let's make what...
I mean, Julie Styne and Arthur Lawrence and Stephen Sondheim worked on this, on Rose's Turn, and it's somebody having a musical nervous breakdown. And all the elements of the entire show, all of the themes and all of the moments of the show coming together and crashing into this absolute nightmare.
How do we all eat on a buck? How do I make an act?
What's really extraordinary is that there's one moment in time when we did this movie, all those geniuses were still with us. And since then, we've lost Jerome Robbins, we've lost Julie Styne, we've lost Emile, we've lost Michael Jeter, we've lost Keen Curtis. But I think that this is pretty much of a tribute to their extraordinary work.
Smile, Gibbs.
And a tribute to Gypsy.
That's it.
When we were rehearsing the score during the whole rehearsal period, Bette would rehearse every song except Rose's Turn. And finally, when she was convinced we had to rehearse Rose's Turn, she started singing it, and she would get through parts of it and then completely break down and collapse and start crying. She was never able to complete the number. It was always so daunting. First of all, it was the piece of the entire show that is so terrifying to perform.
Well, it's what the whole show leads up to.
So it was, as an actress performing this, was terrifying. And then also emotionally, it touched her in so many different ways personally that every single time she attempted to do the number in rehearsal, she couldn't get through it.
And this was actually, we had a kind of set mistake. When we came in and we looked at the set on this stage, there was, you'll see later in the number that there are all these marquees that flash Rose's name, but they were not covered up. And we said, well, but the whole point of the number is that what happens is that we see these marquees in Rose's mind, that we shouldn't see them when she starts the number. And we were shooting the number that day. So we all kind of got angry, and we all were screaming at that the production designer, how could he have been so blind? And then we were angry at ourselves, why didn't anybody ask when it seems so apparent that the marquees have to come at surprise? So this last minute fix is what you see, all these curtains in the backdrop, these kind of curtains that were thrown over to kind of give the effect later on in the number. You'll see what happens. This thing worked out to our advantage, that it looks like a theater that's kind of all the sets are being taken off. And then it's one of those moments where we pulled it out of a hat and it turned into a beautiful number when the marquees finally came on.
I remember also the DP was very unhappy with the set, also because he said that the back wall should never have been tiled, and he said it looks like a bathroom. And when he tried to light it, it kept reflecting back at him. So this was our troublesome set that we had to fix on the spot. And all in all, I think it all came together.
You don't see it.
We improvised and it all came together.
And we had a lot of visitors when we were shooting this.
Many, many, many guests sat in those orchestra seats.
And Bette did take after take after take late into the night.
And again, this is one of those, not only was it difficult for her to get through the rehearsal of this song, but through the entire shooting schedule, there was like a countdown. How many days until she has to do Rose's turn? And finally, we got to this particular day when we shot it. And she was freaking out, terrified. It was so scary because, okay, here we go. We're going to do it. And because you know that it has to be brilliant and it has to be extraordinary.
What does it get you? What does it get you? One quick look as each of them leaves you.
This number had to be extraordinary. Anything less and the whole finale of the show falls apart.
But it all did come together, as it does in so many show business stories. I mean, this being the greatest show business story and able to capture this performance on film with everything that was going wrong that day.
And Bette's performance is truly, truly extraordinary.
I mean, we were honored with 13 Emmy nominations for this show. Bette won the Golden Globe. Bette won the National Board of Review.
And we always go back to Matt Roush, who's now the critic for TV Guide, was the critic for USA Today. And his quote, which we used in our Emmy ad, was, "Check the roof. It's about to be blown off." Now, when the show was trying out of town originally, people who came to see the show tried to convince the authors that the curtain should come down at the end of Rose's turn, and that was the end of the show. And Arthur Lawrence kept telling them, no, that's not the end of the show. What the entire show is about is in this final scene after Rose's turn, where she admits, I did it for, for me. I did it for herself.
And Arthur also said that in this little sequence is the only time that Rose cries.
I think so. If you had had someone...
And that makes it all the more moving.
If I could have been, I would have been. And that's show business. I guess I did do it for me. Why, Mama?
And this line, I just
wanted to be noticed.
And that's what Arthur said the whole show is about. All of these people in the entire movie, they just wanted to be noticed. And the fact that they weren't led them all to what happened to each of them.
And there it goes.
It's okay, Mama.
And the transference of daughter to parent is this scene where she calls her, instead of calling her Mama, she calls her Rose.
Say, you look like you should speak French. You're coming to that party with me. No. Come on. No, like this.
At the end of the scene, there are different interpretations in different Broadway productions of how to end the show. And we chose to go with the one that Arthur had come up with, where the lights come back on at the end, and Rose takes one last look, and the lights go out, and it symbolizes the end of her dream. And she goes off and You know, it's very, very moving.
Madame Rose. And her daughter, Gypsy.
And that's it. That's our experience doing Gypsy.